The Roman Republic, a rising power in the West, found itself drawn into the complex web of Greek politics in the late 3rd century BC. Their involvement began with the Second Macedonian War against Philip V. Rome emerged victorious, solidifying their military prowess and planting the seeds for future influence in the region. This victory was a turning point. It demonstrated Rome's ability to project power far beyond its traditional sphere of influence. The Greek city-states, long accustomed to their own internal power struggles, now had to contend with a new player on the scene. The war's end in 196 BC saw Rome, under the leadership of Titus Quinctius Flamininus, proclaim the freedom of the Greeks. This declaration was met with both celebration and suspicion. It established Rome as a guarantor of Greek independence, but also hinted at their growing ambitions in the region. The stage was set for a new era in Mediterranean history, one where Rome's influence would grow, ultimately leading to a clash with the Seleucid Empire in the east, a clash that would redefine the balance of power and shape the destinies of empires. The Isthmian Games of 196 BC became a platform for a momentous declaration. Gaius Flaminius, the Roman general, proclaimed the liberation of all Greek city-states from Macedonian rule. This resonated with many Greeks who had long chafed under foreign domination. The atmosphere was electric. Cheering crowds hailed Flaminius as a liberator. For a moment it seemed Rome was a benevolent protector, here to safeguard Greek liberty. However, beneath the surface of jubilation, a current of uncertainty ran deep. Not all Greeks were convinced by Rome's altruism. Some saw the proclamation as a shrewd political maneuver. They questioned Rome's true intentions, suspecting a hidden agenda behind their generosity. The Aetolian League, a powerful confederation of Greek city-states, viewed Rome's growing influence with particular apprehension. They had hoped to fill the power vacuum left by Macedon's defeat, not see it occupied by another foreign power. The Aetolian League, once allied with Rome against Philip, grew increasingly disillusioned with their former partners. They felt Rome had not adequately rewarded them for their contributions in the Macedonian War. Their resentment festered, creating an opportunity for manipulation. Across the Aegean Sea, another power watched these developments closely, the Seleucid Empire, ruled by the ambitious Antiochus III. Antiochus, sensing an opportunity to expand his own influence, saw the Aetolians as potential allies against Rome. Envoys were dispatched, promises whispered. The Aetolians, eager to assert their own dominance and wary of Roman intentions, found themselves drawn into Antiochus's orbit. The stage was set for a confrontation. Meanwhile, another key figure emerged from the shadows, Hannibal Barca, the famed Carthaginian general. Having fled Carthage after his defeat by Rome, Hannibal found refuge in Antiochus' court. His military genius and intimate knowledge of Roman tactics made him a valuable advisor to the Seleucid king. Gaius Flaminius, seeking to solidify Rome's position in Greece, made a series of decisions that would ultimately backfire. He launched a campaign against Sparta, aiming to weaken a potential rival and further assert Roman dominance. However, Flaminius's actions had unintended consequences. His aggressive tactics alienated many Greeks who saw Rome's treatment of Sparta as a betrayal of their promise of freedom. The perception of Rome as a liberator began to crumble. The brutal siege of Sparta, though ultimately successful, served as a powerful propaganda tool for Antiochus and the Aetolians. They portrayed Rome as a ruthless aggressor, masking their imperial ambitions behind a facade of liberation. Public opinion in Greece shifted. The seeds of doubt sown earlier blossomed into open hostility. The stage was set for a wider conflict, one that would pit Rome against the might of the Seleucid Empire. Section 5. A clash of titans, diplomatic maneuvers, and Hannibal's council. As tensions escalated, both Rome and the Seleucid Empire engaged in a flurry of diplomatic maneuvers. Envoys were dispatched, ultimatums delivered, alliances forged and broken. the fate of the Mediterranean hung in the balance. One notable encounter took place in Ephesus. A Roman delegation led by the senator Publius Sulpicius met with Antiochus. Hannibal, present at the meeting, urged the Seleucid king to take the offensive. He argued that a swift and decisive strike against Rome, while they were still consolidating their gains in Greece, offered the best chance of victory. Hannibal's counsel, however, was ultimately ignored. Antiochus, perhaps wary of Hannibal's reputation or overconfident in his own abilities, chose a more cautious approach. He hesitated, allowing Rome precious time to prepare for the inevitable conflict. This diplomatic dance, filled with intrigue and shifting alliances, ultimately failed to avert war. The stage was set for a clash of civilizations, a conflict that would determine the future of the Mediterranean world. Section 6. From Greece to Asia Minor, the Syrian War ignites. In 192 BC, the simmering tensions finally boiled over into open warfare. Antiochus III, pressured by the Aetolians and emboldened by his own ambitions, crossed the Hellespont with his army, landing on Greek soil. The Syrian War had begun. Antiochus's arrival was met with mixed reactions. Some Greeks, fueled by anti-Roman sentiment or lured by promises of power, flocked to his banner. Others remained wary, unsure who to trust in this fight for their future. Initial Seleucid advances were swift. They secured key cities and fortresses, aiming to consolidate their control over Greece before the Romans could react. However, their early successes would prove short-lived. The Battle of Thermopylae, echoing the famous clash between Greeks and Persians centuries earlier, marked a turning point. A Roman army led by the consul Manius Acilius Glabrio decisively defeated the Seleucids, shattering Antiochus's hope of a swift victory on Greek soil. Section 7, Triumph at Magnesia, the fall of Antiochus and the rise of Rome. Forced to retreat from Greece after the debacle at Thermopylae, Antiochus regrouped his forces in Asia Minor. The Romans, determined to crush the Seleucid threat once and for all, pursued relentlessly. The decisive engagement came in 190 BC at Magnesia ad Sipylum. The Roman army, led by Scipio Asiaticus, brother of the famed Hannibal's conqueror Scipio Africanus, met Antiochus's forces in a pitched battle. The clash was brutal and bloody, but ultimately one-sided. Roman discipline, combined with superior tactics and weaponry, proved too much for the Seleucid army. Antiochus's forces broke and fled, leaving the once mighty king to face the consequences of his shattered ambitions. The Treaty of Apamea, signed in 188 BC, formally ended the Syrian War. Antiochus was forced to cede vast territories, pay a crippling indemnity, and surrender his elephants and navy. The Seleucid Empire, once a dominant force in the east, was humbled. Section 8. A New Order, Rome's Ascendancy and the Legacy of the Syrian War. The Roman victory in the Syrian War had profound implications for the Mediterranean world. It marked the beginning of Rome's undisputed dominance in the region, ushering in centuries of Roman hegemony. Greece, though nominally free, effectively became a Roman protectorate. The Aetolian League, their ambitions crushed, was dissolved. The balance of power had shifted irrevocably. Rome's victory also sent a clear message to other powers in the region: challenge Roman authority at your peril. The Syrian War served as a stark reminder of Rome's military might and their willingness to use it to protect their interests. The echoes of this conflict resonated for generations. It shaped the political landscape of the Mediterranean, paving the way for the rise of the Roman Empire and leaving an indelible mark on the course of Western civilization.